Okay, y'all. So now let's get into more legal drama. And let's talk about Chris Brown. So apparently Chris Brown looked like he's gonna have to dance a little harder on that joint tour he got with Usher because he's been ordered to pay damn near 13 million after that whole dog situation that happened on one of his well, I don't know how many, but I'll say one of his housekeepers apparently was attacked by one of his unruly ass dogs. And I was like, look, that's a sad way for y'all to just sit up here and call Chris Brown a dog. But no, she was bit by an actual dog and not Breezy and them crooked ass teeth he got. So Brown and his company, Black Pyramid LLC, must pay $12.9 million in damages to the housekeeper Maria Avila for negligence, said Michael C. Murphy Jr., a lawyer representing her sister, Patricia Avila. Now, Patricia, who was working with Maria when the attack happened, was awarded $885,000 for emotional distress. Maria's husband, Oscar Olivo, who claimed his wife's injuries affected their marriage, depriving him of the intimacy they had before. Oh, you know them Spanish boys. You know they got to get they drink what. Even when they horny all the time. Shout out to the Hispanics. That's why I like y'all. Was separately awarded $50,000. Goddamn, y'all all cha-chinged on this whole situation. But Maria is the one that's going to get the biggest payout because she's getting 12.9 million. And then, Usher. Chris had to pay $885,000 to Patricia. Right? Yeah, because Maria was the one that got the 12. Patricia gets 850K, and then the husband gets 50K. Now they said, oh, I should say, shout out to Billboard because they were the first reporter in this story. So now, after more than 5 years of litigating against Chris Breezy, they didn't say that, I did. We are thrilled that we are able to get justice for our client, Patricia. We are so happy for her and her family and everything they went through on that horrible day. It was an honor to represent her. This is what Murphy said in a statement to Rolling Stone. Now, Maria Avila gave emotional testimony at the 2-week trial, breaking down on the witness stand as she described the December 12, 2020 mauling at Brown's home in the Tarzana neighborhood of LA. She said the attack left her with severe injuries to her arm and face, extensive scarring, and post-traumatic stress disorder. She said, I'll never be the same again. This is what she told jurors in the courtroom in Van Nuys, California on June 24th. Testifying in Spanish through an interpreter, Avila described a grueling recovery. She said surgeons harvested skin from her abdomen to graft onto her mangled arm, leaving her in extreme pain and unable to bend at the waist. The lacerations to her face required dozens of stitches. Pandemic restrictions barred her family from visiting during the 5 days in the hospital, forcing her to endure the ordeal alone. So that's probably where the PTSD came from. A mother of 3, Avila told jurors that nerve damage and chronic sensitivity on her left side still make it hard for her to sleep and carry out basic daily tasks. She no longer has the arm strength to scrub floors or wring out a mop. Meanwhile, the attack also left her afraid of all dogs. That fear, combined with her physical limitations, has effectively ended her career as a housekeeper since most of her former clients own dogs. Now, Avila's daughter, Yoselin Espinoza, testified that her mother, recalling the panic call she received from her aunt, Patricia Avila, who had also been working at the house that day and filed her own claim against Brown, saying she was just freaking out, telling me, your mom can't breathe. She's passing out on me. The ambulance is still not here. Chris Brown fled the scene. I did not think she was going to make it. Now, Brown, who's 37, testified as the first witness in the trial. He told jurors he heard the dog. Child, the dog name is Hades. That should have been a damn good giveaway from the beginning. When you got a dog, and I bet you he probably a pit bull. I need to know the maker of the dog, like, because the type. Chris Brown is literally a walking black male stereotype. He gives me, like, you try to perpetuate that whole machismo, light skin. I'm hard. Like, I hang out with the niggas, and that they try to get that image. Because he throw that word out like it's just a regular word to just be saying. He do say that N word a lot. And then he looked like that the only type of breed of dog you would want to have around you is a pit bull. It gives that. Like, you literally, like, there's literally people out here walk around being a full-on stereotype and think it's a flex. So yeah, so now as I said that he heard the dog Hades growling outside and rushed downstairs to find Avila face down and motionless on the ground. He told jurors he locked up the dog, called out to his security guard to summon help, and bent down to make sure Avila was breathing. He acknowledged he didn't personally call 911, which is the first thing you should have did if that's your house, because you knew you were going to be held liable at the end of the day. When you are the big celebrity, when I'm working for someone, if somebody was working for me and I was a big celebrity and something happens in my house, I'm going to be held liable for the situation. So, of course, I'm going to call 911. I'm going to stay and make sure you're okay. But clearly, we already know how Chris Brown don't give a fuck about anybody, least alone women. I mean, he's shown that in his actions many a time, but a lot of y'all are still spread your legs for that community dick. But that's something y'all got to work out with your own personal, whoever you worship, and your therapist, if you can afford one. Now, where was I? Oh, so they said, yeah. So he said he acknowledged he personally didn't call 911, saying he feared a recording would be leaked to the media. That's what you worried about. You worried about not TMZ getting a recording of you calling 911? Who cares? This is somebody's life on the line. You busy worrying about your reputation, which you just made it worse. So now we here talking about it, and now you got to pay out all this extra coin, and which is why I said you're gonna have to tap dance a little harder on that damn tour you got going on with Usher. Which, quiet as it's kept, I've heard people say that Usher is eating him up on his tour. But then again, why are y'all surprised? Usher is a showman. He's been doing this for 20 some odd years. I think maybe longer. Because when did Usher come out? Like 95, 96? So almost, 30, over 30, almost 30 years, I believe. Might be 30 years. So anyway, he also said he never touched Avila, offered her water, brought her a towel, and gave her any comfort beyond telling her help was on the way. Describing Avila's injuries for the jury, the singer pointed to his forehead and traced a finger down his nose and under his eye, said it was cut like severed. I know it's graphic, but you could see skin was kind of raised. You could see the cut and the blood coming out. It was a lot of blood. And if you know your dogs act the way that they act, you should have that damn dog or dogs. You should have all your pets locked up, especially if they ain't got no goddamn training. Now, Brown said he left the property before paramedics arrived because he's a celebrity. But these people coming to your house. He said his manager allegedly suggested it. Well, your manager, you need to fire his ass because now you got to shell out all his damn money. He also, because you shouldn't have left the scene if you was there. He also confirmed he never asked his security to preserve the home surveillance video from the incident. What would have been the problem with you being there and waiting for paramedics to get there with a woman bleeding in your driveway? Why would that be a problem for you as a celebrity? This is what Avila's lawyer, Nancy Dumanian, asked, incredulous. He said, because of how my image is always used, I didn't want a misleading story or like a circus from my status. It's pretty sticky when it comes to that, so me staying out of the way was advised. Well, whoever advised you, they're fucking stupid, and you need to just, I don't know, but you say your manager told you to leave. You need to fire your manager because your manager did not have your best interests at heart. You should have stayed on the scene. Fuck your image. You weren't too much about what people think. But then again, when you've invited situations of negativity in your life, when you've had many of those side situations of you beating up on people, fighting people, doing all kinds of violence to ex-girlfriends, when you've had to have restraining orders and stuff taken out of you. And I ain't just talking about Rihanna. We know the history. We could all look it up. When you've always had these little situations that you put yourself into, this is somebody's life where they're about to die based off of a lot of the blood and the skin being ripped off and all this other stuff, and how your dogs did this thing. Fuck the image. But that's the problem with y'all. Y'all worry too much about y'all images and what the media thinks and all this other stuff. The media is going to sensationalize or do whatever they want regardless. But this is a human being that you paid to clean up your damn house. If your dog went and did something to these people, to this woman, you stick around and you see it through. But you weren't about, I'm going to leave the property. That's like this is no different than a fucking hit and run. You hit somebody with your car, but because you a celebrity, your manager advised you to leave. But then they're going to find out, they're going to trace who the car belongs to and who was behind the wheel. And then you still going to be liable. and you possibly do jail time because of the whole hit and run situation, not because of the dog mauling. But then again, who knows how this would have all turned out had the woman not survived? Like, it's like the lack of critical thinking with a lot of people just sends me. So he says that he didn't flee. Then what do you call it then? You fled. You fled. That was what I was going to say. I was like, you fled. He said he spent a couple of hours driving around and stopped at a gas station before he was advised it was time to return home. When you leave the property where the incident happened and you get in a car and you leave the property, that is the definition of fleeing. No wonder he had to pay all this damn money. Now, Avila testified that she didn't know the large, it was a Caucasian Shepherd. Let me look that up. What that looked like. Caucasian Shepherd dog. Ooh, that's an ugly dog. Hold on. It's giving like Cujo with rabies. Let me pull this picture. It's a big dog too. Yeah, actually, it's I'll pull it up on the YouTube. Let me show y'all the size of this dog. Y'all gonna gag. I'm like, God damn. The fuck do they feed this thing? And it's known as a wolf killer. So yeah, this big ass thing is what mauled that woman. That's a Caucasian Shepherd. That's what attacked Chris Brown's I'm gonna lead this up here just so y'all get an idea of the size of this damn thing. Cause I know some people just be like, okay, it's not so bad. Yeah, okay. Look at the size of that fucking dog. Anyway, so as I said, Avila testified that she didn't know the large Caucasian Shepherd, also known as a Central Asian Ovcharka, was on the property that day. She told jurors she only saw Brown's two other dogs, small French bulldogs. And you know, the French bulldogs, they cute. They're expensive, but they cute. I actually want one. That's going to be my next dog. And she denied Brown's claims that he warned her not to go outside without an escort because there was a third dog on the property that was not friendly. Well, this is why if you have an unfriendly dog, you need to lock it up. Speaking softly, Avila says she had gone outside to empty a vacuum bag when the attack occurred. That's when she could only recall flashes of the mauling and its aftermath. She told jurors that she had to leave the courtroom during opening statements when graphic photos of her injuries were displayed and that she still hasn't been able to look at them, saying, "It's very hard for me. I can't," she said. Now, with her hands visibly shaking, she rolled up her shirt sleeve and walked to the jury box, turning her gaze to the wall as jurors examined and raised and pitted skin covering much of her forearm. She then removed her glasses and swept back her bangs and revealed a pattern of scars running from beneath her left eye up across her forehead. Now, before trial, Brown admitted negligence under California's dog bite statute in a court filing. He continued to dispute the extent of Avila's injuries and claimed she was partly at fault for going outside alone. Now, Brown's attorney acknowledged during jury selection that Avila was entitled to some damages, but said there was a difference of opinion over the amount. Well, look, now you got to pay her $13 million, sir. So they said and also I should point out that I think I did read the statement from Michael C. Murphy Jr., the attorney of Patricia Avila, because they said that the article was updated yesterday, which was the 30th. Now, special prospective jurors were dismissed early in the selection process after saying they could not be impartial because of Brown's 2009 felony assault conviction involving his then girlfriend Rihanna. The jury previously ruled that history was not relevant to the case, but the prospective jurors brought it up on their own. So there you have it. I don't think I have any more to add because I was adding my commentary in between, me reading the article. But what I do want to know is, what do y'all think of this situation? So, do y'all think this was justified in this whole case? And my thing was, y'all gotta at least use your brain when it comes to how people are treated, or if you got not so friendly dogs on your property and people are coming over, lock them up. I've always had situations, if I got people coming over and I know, like, my dogs for the most part, well, Xena is, and she's not bad. She wasn't bad. She passed away, but she was a Bulldog Shar-Pei mix, so she's friendly. But I know how she get, and I know how Prince get when we get company. So in certain situations, when you got people come over and they're going to be doing work on your place or whatever the case is, I lock them up because I don't want no incident. So common sense clearly ain't so common with him, and this keeps proving to show that y'all be thinking these people out here with money, they smart. Clearly, Chris, it doesn't, the smart G done skipped his ass. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Whatever your thoughts are on this matter, let me know in the comments down below.